All right, so are you ready to dive into some Christmas Day football?
You know I always am.
Well, I hope you saved room for this deep dive. Because we're unpacking a doubleheader that, it had everyone buzzing.
Definitely.
And not just because of the touchdowns. I mean, Netflix streaming NFL games for the first time.
That's huge.
That's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah.
Plus we had some intense AFC matchups.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Beyonce's halftime show, which has got everyone talking.
Everyone.
So buckle up. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting here is how this goes, like, way beyond just the, typical sports headlines.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing the NFL kind of make a strategic move into the future of, broadcasting, and a streaming giant like Netflix kind of testing the waters of live sports. I mean, it's a pretty significant moment for both of them, really.
For sure. Okay, so before we get to all the streaming stuff, let's talk about the games themselves.
Okay.
We had 2 AFC showdowns that could really shake up the playoff picture.
Big time.
So the Kansas City Chiefs, already kind of cruising at 15-1, took on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and let's just say Mahomes and Kelce were in their usual, unstoppable form.
Oh, for sure.
29-10 win for the Chiefs, pretty much locking them in as the AFC's top seed.
Makes sense.
Not much of a surprise there, but still, an important win.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The Chiefs were the favorites going in, but I think the Ravens' victory over the Texans was a bit more impactful on that playoff race.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Houston 31-2. And with Lamar Jackson leading the charge and Derrick Henry having a monster game, they moved into first place in the AFC North. And, I think that division is going to be a real nail-biter down to the wire.
Oh, for sure. So intense games with playoff implications. Got it. But let's be honest, a lot of the buzz around this doubleheader was about Netflix.
Right.
This was their first ever live NFL broadcast, reaching their gigantic audience of 282.3 million subscribers around the world. I mean, talk about pressure.
Huge pressure.
Yeah.
It was a huge gamble for them. And the stakes were high,
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. They're known for on-demand shows, not live events with millions of people, all watching at the same time.
Right.
But you know what?
Yeah.
They pulled it off. This broadcast, it actually became their second most popular live title ever.
Wow.
Which tells us that there is a massive demand for sports on these streaming platforms. And Netflix is clearly betting on being a, major player in that space.
Yeah. They did have that little hiccup at the beginning with Kay Adams' mic not working during the pregame, but honestly, for their first live NFL rodeo,
first time out,
they navigated it pretty smoothly, especially when you remember what happened during the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight they streamed a while back.
Exactly. Remember all the lagging and the buffering? It was a completely different story this time around. Everything ran smoothly, even during Beyonce's halftime performance, which was arguably their biggest test. They clearly learned from their past mistakes, and they invested, really heavily in the infrastructure to handle that, like massive influx of viewers, all at once.
Yeah.
And that's a smart move, especially if they're serious about, streaming more live sports in the future.
Speaking of Beyonce, she basically owned that halftime show. I mean, come on. She entered on a white horse.
It was unbelievable.
In her hometown of Houston, no less. And then she brings out, boozy AMD Post Malone.
I know, right?
It was less of a halftime show and more like a mini concert. People are still talking about it.
Oh, it was pure spectacle.
Yeah.
And it went on for almost 13 minutes.
Yeah.
She definitely understands the power of live events. This wasn't just a quick performance. It was a, meticulously planned, full-blown event designed to generate buzz.
Oh, yeah.
And it worked.
So we've got Netflix making a splash in the live sports world, Beyonce delivering a performance for the ages. But there's one more interesting layer to all of this.
What's that?
It's not every day you see the NFL playing games on Christmas, let alone on a Wednesday, right?
You're right. It's incredibly rare. NFL games on Christmas Day have always been kind of limited.
Yeah.
And Wednesday games are even more unusual. I mean, think about it. The last time they played on a Wednesday was back in 2020.
Yeah.
Because of that crazy COVID scheduling. And before that, you have to go all the way back to 2012 for a Wednesday season opener.
So why the sudden change? Why mess with tradition like this?
Well, the NFL is a business, and they don't, just do things randomly. They scheduled these 2 games on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Specifically to fulfill their $150 million deal with Netflix.
Wow.
And that's a pretty clear sign of how important these streaming deals are becoming for the NFL.
Right.
As they try to reach a wider global audience.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially when you think about how many people are ditching cable.
Right.
And relying on streaming services these days. And, this wasn't even Netflix's first time dipping their toes into live events.
Right.
They stumbled a bit with that Mike Tyson fight, but this time they really stepped up their game.
Exactly. And you know what? This is all part of a much, much bigger trend. We're seeing traditional TV kind of lose ground to streaming, and sports are no exception. We've got Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
The Sunday Ticket package moving to YouTube TV. Even individual games are being streamed on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way we watch sports is evolving rapidly, and the NFL is, they're embracing these changes.
So what does this mean for the future of how we watch football?
Right.
Is streaming eventually going to be the main way we experience the NFL?
That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
The lines between traditional broadcasting and streaming are definitely blurring. And the NFL is positioned, right at the center of that shift.
Yeah.
Could we see a future where the Super Bowl is streamed exclusively online? I mean, I might have sounded crazy a few years ago.
Right.
But now, it's not as far-fetched as you might think.
Wow. That's a pretty big thought. So streaming, clearly, it's not just about convenience anymore, right?
Wow.
These platforms are offering new ways to, engage with the games. Features we just don't get with traditional broadcasts.
Absolutely. We're talking about choosing camera angles, pulling up real-time stats, interacting with other fans, and potentially even more innovative features that we haven't even seen yet.
Right.
It's about creating a more immersive and personalized experience, something traditional broadcasting has struggled to keep up with.
And that's what makes this Netflix and NFL partnership so intriguing. I mean, Netflix is known for pushing boundaries and innovating, so I'm really curious to see what they do with the NFL viewing experience.
I'm right there with you. Imagine interactive stat overlays, behind-the-scenes documentaries kind of woven into the game, maybe even choose-your-own adventure replays.
Oh, wow.
Where you decide which play to focus on. I mean, there's a lot of potential here.
Okay, so we've talked about Netflix's big streaming debut, Beyoncé's performance that stole the show, and the NFL's strategic move to embrace the future of broadcasting. It feels like we're seeing a massive shift in how we experience sports, But how does this one event fit into the larger landscape of sports media? Are other sports making similar moves?
That's what makes it so fascinating. It's not an isolated incident. We're seeing a major shift across the entire world of sports.
Okay.
Streaming platforms are becoming major players in securing broadcasting rights.
So it's not just about football. Other sports are jumping on this streaming train too.
Absolutely. Amazon snagged Thursday Night Football.
Right.
Apple TV Plus is streaming Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
And Formula One is experiencing a resurgence in popularity.
Yeah.
In part because of Netflix's Drive to Survive series.
Wow. So this is like a multi-sport revolution.
It is.
What's driving this massive change?
Well, I think it's a confluence of factors. More and more people are cutting the cord on cable.
Right.
Younger generations are used to consuming content online.
Yeah.
And streaming platforms offer this flexibility and personalized viewing options.
Right.
That traditional TV just can't match.
And let's not forget the global reach of these platforms. I mean, Netflix, for example, has over 282 million subscribers in over 190 countries. That's a potential audience that traditional broadcasters could only dream of.
You've hit on a crucial point. This isn't just about changing how we watch sports. It's about changing who can watch sports. It's about expanding the reach of sports beyond, those traditional geographical boundaries.
Right.
Streaming allows fans all over the world to connect with their favorite teams and athletes.
So it's not just about changing how we watch, but about democratizing access to sports.
Exactly.
That's pretty powerful.
It is. And that has the potential to revolutionize the way we experience sports on a global scale.
Wow. So this isn't just Netflix streaming a couple football games. This is a pivotal moment for the way sports are, produced, distributed, and consumed.
Exactly. We're witnessing the early stages of a major transformation in the sports media landscape.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out in the coming years.
Okay, so we've explored the immediate impact of Netflix's NFL debut.
Right.
But let's look ahead. What could this mean for the future of streaming and live sports?
Well, Consider this. The most watched streamed NFL game so far was last season's Dolphins-Chiefs wildcard game on Peacock.
Oh, wow.
It drew a massive 23 million viewers.
That's huge.
That's a huge number, and it proves that there's a massive, massive desire for watching playoff games via streaming.
So if those numbers keep climbing, could we see like even bigger events moving to streaming platforms?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, we already see it happening. Amazon Prime has Thursday Night Football. YouTube TV snagged the Sunday ticket package. Individual games are showing up on Peacock. The direction is clear. Streaming is becoming a major, major force in sports broadcasting.
And Netflix testing the waters with these Christmas Day games could be a sign of like even bigger ambitions, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now that they've shown they can handle the technical challenges of streaming a massive live sporting event, it opens up a world of possibilities for them.
So could we realistically see Netflix bidding on the rights to, say, Monday Night Football? And this is a big one.
Yeah.
Could they go after the Super Bowl?
It's not as crazy as it might sound. Imagine what kind of innovative viewing experience they could create for a global event like the Super Bowl.
Multiple camera angles, real-time stats, interactive replays, maybe even like integrated fantasy football features.
Yeah.
It would completely change the game.
Exactly. That's what makes all of this so exciting. It's not just about watching sports on a different screen. It's about reimagining the entire viewing experience.
And that's a pretty exciting proposition, not just for like hardcore sports fans, but also for casual viewers.
I couldn't agree more. This is a transformative moment for sports broadcasting, and it's going to be a wild ride seeing how it all unfolds.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from Netflix's smooth streaming, Beyoncé aside, of course, to the NFL's strategic moves in this like ever-changing landscape.
And let's not forget those crucial wins by the Chiefs and Ravens, which definitely shook up that AFC playoff race.
Yeah.
But you're right, this Christmas Day doubleheader was about so much more than just who won and lost.
It feels like we're at a real turning point, a moment where like how we watch sports is undergoing a fundamental change.
It's an exciting evolution, and the implications reach far beyond football. We're talking about a potential paradigm shift for all major sporting events.
So to recap, Netflix scored a touchdown with their live NFL debut. Beyoncé delivered an unforgettable halftime show, and the NFL continues to, make smart moves to stay ahead of the curve.
But here's a final thought to ponder. Now that Netflix has dipped its toes into live sports broadcasting, what other major sporting events might they target next?
Ooh, great question. Could we see them going after, like, NBA games? Or maybe even the Olympics?
It's definitely within the realm of possibility, and with their global reach and innovative approach, they can really change the game.
Just imagine a Netflix-produced Olympics opening ceremony. It would be like visually stunning and probably feature some amazing surprise celebrity cameos.
The possibilities are truly endless, and that's what makes this whole development so exciting. We're on the cusp of a new era in sports broadcasting, and it's going to be fascinating to see where it takes us.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another deep dive complete. We hope you enjoyed exploring Netflix's NFL debut, Beyoncé's show-stopping performance, and the bigger picture of what it all means for the future of sports. Now go out there and ponder those thought-provoking questions, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into a topic that's sure to spark your curiosity.
Sounds good. And it's not just about, big name players or flashy performances.
Right.
The technology behind streaming itself is evolving rapidly.
Okay.
Which adds a whole other layer to this shift we're seeing.
Okay, so let's keep out a little bit here. What are some of the tech advancements that made Netflix's streaming so successful, and what does that tell us about the future of live sports online? Well,
remember those streaming issues Netflix had with the Mike Tyson fight? Those buffering nightmares?
Yeah.
Those are largely a thing of the past. Thanks to advancements in streaming technology, we're talking about things like adaptive bitrate streaming, which basically adjusts the video quality in real time.
Oh, okay.
Based on your internet connection.
So it's like the stream is constantly adapting to make sure you're getting the best possible quality.
Right.
Even if your internet connection isn't perfect.
Yep.
Pretty smart.
Exactly. And then you have things like content delivery networks or CDNs. Think of them as massive networks of servers spread across the globe.
Okay.
All working together to deliver that content quickly and efficiently, no matter where the viewer is located.
So it's not just about Netflix having powerful servers. It's about having like a sophisticated network in place to make sure the stream reaches everyone smoothly. That makes sense, especially when you consider they have subscribers in over 190 countries.
Precisely. And these technological advancements, I mean, they're only going to become more sophisticated, leading to even smoother and higher quality streaming experiences in the future. We're talking 8K resolution, VR integration, even personalized viewing angles. I mean, the possibilities are mind-blowing.
Okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but imagine watching the Super Bowl in 8K VR.
I know.
You'd practically feel like you're on the field.
Right, and we haven't even touched on the potential for interactive features.
Ooh, like what?
Real-time stat overlays, integrated social media feeds.
Yeah.
And maybe even the ability to, like, bet on the game all within the streaming platform.
Hold on. Betting within the stream. That's an interesting thought. Is the NFL open to that kind of integration?
It's definitely something they're exploring. Remember, the NFL is a business, and they're always looking for ways to increase fan engagement and generate revenue.
Yeah.
Integrating things like betting and fantasy sports directly into that streaming experience, I mean, that could be a lucrative move for them.
That's true. It would definitely add another layer of excitement to the viewing experience. But let's not forget about the traditional broadcasters. How are they reacting to this massive shift towards streaming? Are they just going to sit back and watch their viewers disappear?
They're definitely not sitting still. Traditional broadcasters are they're facing a serious challenge.
Yeah.
And they're starting to adapt in a variety of ways. Some are launching their own streaming platforms to compete directly with the likes of Netflix and Amazon.
So it's like the old guard trying to keep up with the new kids on the block.
Exactly. And others are partnering with these streaming services to offer their content on multiple platforms. They're realizing they need to be where the viewers are.
Right.
And increasingly, that's online.
So it's a bit of a scramble with everyone trying to figure out the best strategy in this this evolving media landscape.
It really is. It's a fascinating time to be following the evolution of sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to the games for a moment. You mentioned how rare it is for the NFL to play games on Christmas, let alone on a Wednesday.
Right.
Do you think this is a sign of things to come?
Well, it definitely makes you wonder. Is the NFL willing to shake up its traditional schedule even more to accommodate these streaming deals?
Here's something to consider. The NFL's current broadcasting deals with traditional networks, like CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, are worth billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And they're locked in for several years. However, these deals are going to expire eventually.
Okay.
And that's when things could get really interesting.
So you're saying that once these traditional deals run out, streaming services could potentially have even more power to dictate when and how games are broadcast.
Streaming platforms have deep pockets and a global reach that traditional broadcasters are really struggling to match.
Right.
The NFL might be more willing to move games to unconventional time slots or even days of the week if it means securing those lucrative streaming deals.
Wow, that's a pretty big shift. Could you imagine Monday Night Football becoming Monday afternoon football?
Right.
Because that's what works best for like a streaming service in Europe or Asia?
It's not as crazy as it sounds. Yeah. The NFL is already experimenting with streaming games internationally on its own platform, NFL Game Pass.
Yeah.
And they've seen significant growth.
Yeah.
In international viewership. So they're definitely open to exploring new ways to reach that that global audience.
Okay, so we've got technological advancements driving those like smoother streaming experiences, traditional broadcasters scrambling to keep up, and the NFL potentially becoming even more flexible with its schedule. It sounds like we're on the verge of a complete overhaul of how we watch football.
It's a truly transformative period. But beyond the technology and the business deals, there's another aspect to this shift that's worth discussing: the fan experience.
Oh, you mean how fans are actually reacting to watching games via streaming? Like, what are they saying about it?
Well, there's definitely like a generational divide.
Okay.
Older fans who grew up watching games on TV, they might be more resistant to change.
Right.
While younger viewers, who are accustomed to streaming everything else, are embracing it wholeheartedly.
That makes sense. I can see how some people might miss the ritual of gathering around the TV with friends and family for a big game.
Sure.
There's something nostalgic about that.
Absolutely. But for younger generations, Streaming offers a different kind of social experience.
Okay.
They're watching games on their phones, their tablets, their computers.
Yeah.
And they're connecting with friends and other fans online.
Right.
Through social media and in chat platforms.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of shared experience, but it's still, it's still social.
So it's not necessarily about like replacing the traditional viewing experience, but about offering new ways for fans to connect with each other.
Exactly.
And with the game itself.
And streaming platforms are starting to cater to this desire for social interaction by, incorporating features like live chat, watch parties, real-time polls into their broadcasts.
So it's not just about watching the game anymore. It's about engaging with the game and with other fans in like a whole new way.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
And as these platforms continue to evolve, I think we're only going to see, more innovative features that enhance that social aspect of watching sports online.
Okay, so we've talked about the technology, the business side of things, and the evolving fan experience.
Yeah.
But I'm still curious about what all of this means for the long-term future of sports broadcasting.
Right.
Are we heading toward a world where like streaming completely takes over?
Yeah.
Or will traditional TV always have a place?
That's the question, isn't it? That's the question a lot of people are trying to answer.
So what are your thoughts? What does your crystal ball tell you?
Well, if I had a crystal ball, I'd probably be rich. But seriously, I think the future of sports broadcasting is going to be a hybrid model where both streaming and traditional TV coexist.
Interesting. So you don't think streaming will completely wipe out like traditional TV?
I don't. I think there's still a huge audience for traditional TV, especially among older viewers and those who, maybe prefer the simplicity of cable or satellite. And let's not forget that many major sporting events like the Super Bowl and the Olympics are still broadcast on network TV, reaching those massive audiences.
So it's not about one replacing the other, but about both finding ways to thrive in this new media landscape. Do you think the NFL is ready to like fully embrace this hybrid model?
I think they're getting there. Their current strategy seems to be a mix of maintaining those strong relationships with traditional broadcasters while also dipping their toes into the world of streaming. Yeah. It's a balancing act for sure. Yeah. But it allows them to reach the the widest possible audience.
That makes sense. They want to keep their like loyal TV viewers happy while also attracting new, younger viewers who prefer to stream.
Exactly. And as streaming technology continues to improve and internet access becomes more widespread, I think we'll see that balance shift even further towards streaming in the coming years.
Okay, so it's not about choosing one over the other, but about finding ways to make both work together to deliver that best possible viewing experience for all fans. That's a pretty exciting future.
I agree. And who knows what other innovations are just around the corner. We might be talking about holographic replays or personalized highlight reels in a few years.
Okay, now you're just getting me way too excited. But you're right, the possibilities are pretty much endless. So where do we go from here? We've talked about the technology, the business deals, the fan experience, and the potential future of sports broadcasting. But what are some of the key takeaways from all of this? What should our listeners be thinking about as they watch this evolution unfold?
Here's what I think is crucial to understand. We're in the midst of a profound shift in how we consume sports. The days of being tethered to a cable box, I mean, those are fading away. Streaming is here to stay. Yeah. And is going to continue to disrupt the sports media landscape in ways we can't even imagine.
So buckle up, because the ride is just getting started.
Exactly. And it's going to be a wild one.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive. From Netflix's surprisingly smooth streaming debut to the NFL's strategic embrace of this whole streaming revolution.
Yeah, and let's not forget those hard-fought wins by the Chiefs and the Ravens, adding even more drama to the already exciting AFC playoff race. But yeah, you're right. This Christmas Day doubleheader, it was a sign of something much bigger happening in the world of sports.
It really does feel like we're witnessing a major turning point. Like we're standing on the edge of a whole new era for sports broadcasting.
It is.
Yeah, and the implications of this shift, I mean, they extend far beyond just football. We're talking about a potential paradigm shift that could impact, all major sporting events.
All of them.
So to recap what we've learned, Netflix successfully entered the live sports arena.
Yep.
Beyoncé's halftime performance was a
sure
showstopper, and the NFL continues to demonstrate, it's savvy in navigating this rapidly changing media landscape.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the final question I'll leave you with. Now that Netflix has dipped its toes into live sports broadcasting, what other major sporting events might they set their sights on next?
That's a great question. Could we see them, bidding on NBA games?
Oh, yeah. Or maybe even the Olympics.
It's definitely within the realm of possibility. And with their global reach and reputation for innovation, they could really shake things up.
Imagine a Netflix-produced Olympics opening ceremony. It would be visually stunning.
Really?
And knowing them, there'd probably be some surprise celebrity cameos that would just break the internet.
For sure. The possibilities are truly endless, and that's what makes this whole evolution so exciting. We're on the cusp of a new era in sports broadcasting, and it's going to be a wild ride seeing how it all unfolds.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've reached the end of our deep dive into this historic Christmas Day doubleheader. We explored Netflix's NFL debut. We analyzed the implications for the future of sports viewership. And of course, we reveled in the spectacle of Beyoncé's halftime performance.
Absolutely. We did it all.
We hope this deep dive gave you a new perspective on the forces shaping the future of, sports and entertainment.
We hope you enjoyed it. Keep those thought-provoking questions swirling, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into a topic that's sure to pique your curiosity.